Hi everyone, and welcome to Apprenticeish, where we talk all about apprenticeships, kind of. This is one of those kind of videos because we are not here to talk about anything to do with an apprentice. I turned 26 a while ago and I wanted to film this video, but honestly, I just didn't know what to film. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to put things. So it took me a little while to come up with this list, but here are 25 things that I have learned at 20. Girl, I'm 26. Number 1, be content in all circumstances. There is a lot of consumerism in this world and there's a lot of comparison. And honestly, I think it's very easy to look at what someone else is doing and be like,
that's crazy. I could have like
on YouTube, for example,
1 million subscribers.
but are you willing to do the work that they did? I was comparing when it comes to grades and academia because that was an area I had a weakness in. But honestly, I had to become content, and like it's been like a 5-year journey, but I'm not saying that it took me that long to be content, but also just recognizing my strengths and being happy with the cards that I've been dealt. Just be content with what you have. Like, I think particularly in the West, we're quite asset rich, which means you can have a ton of new gadgets, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're rich or wealthy. It just means that you have a lot of stuff. It's very easy to say this, but zooming out of your life and just thinking about humanity and life from like a big picture angle really helps to just be content. Number 2, real self-care makes you look good on the inside first. Lowering your stress levels, your cortisol, taking care of your real nails. Girlies, I know we have the acrylics, the press-ons and all that kind of stuff. Trust me, I was literally in bondage to press-ons. When I removed them, I was
like, damn, my nails are so weak.
But you know, maybe just like taking care of your hair isn't just about the products that you put on it. It also comes from having a good diet. She says she's eating a whole slice of chocolate cake. Guys, this chocolate cheesecake is so nice. And let me tell you, I actually don't like cheesecake. But this? Yeah, so I think honestly, just like taking care of yourself from the inside out will dramatically change your mind, like how you operate, how you think, and it will then impact the outside. And I know it's so easy, especially when it comes to like all of these glow up videos. There's so much being in your new era and all this kind of stuff. I genuinely just think if you took some time to take care of inside of your body, like your gut health, your mental health, your physical health, and it's not just about putting things on to cover up things that aren't unhealthy, but it also means actually doing an audit. Like, is everything okay? Am I drinking water? Am I going to poop every day? These things are important, I'm being serious. The next thing is your environment can change your perception. I genuinely say this because I've obviously lived with my family. I've lived with I've lived with a friend. There's another 2 of us. I've lived with strangers and I've lived by myself. I've been around. And I can definitely say in each of those environments that I lived in, how I operated as a person was just completely different. The ideas that I accepted, the boundaries I had with myself, like I didn't realize how influential your environment can be. And now that I live by myself, I am so particular about who I allow into my space. Not even anymore, just like now I understand it's like your environment is way bigger than the place that you actually live in. I mean, just like in my personal space, who needs to know my business, who is speaking good words into my space. Living alone has honestly changed me so much. I can be so much more critical in a healthy way, identify problems, and actually just like reflect. The environment can definitely change your perception on how you see yourself, how you see your life, how you think. It's crazy. The next thing, I feel like I'm dragging myself because I'm definitely enjoying this, is be mindful of what you consume. And I'm not talking about food. I mean, obviously, like, don't eat trash every day. I feel like now I'm 26, like, we'll get onto the health thing, but like, I just don't eat trash every single day. I'm talking about consumption in like the media and the media you're consuming, the conversations that you're having, the words that you're partnering with, like all of that stuff. That was one time I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many people that I don't want to follow because, you know, like what I'm seeing on my feed, it just doesn't align with me. But like obviously I know these people personally, and you know, some people got offended.
It is what it is.
It's not even a thing where like I don't like said person or whoever it is. But in all honesty, the content that is being produced on your page does not bode well with me. Like, and I know I used to be a murder mystery girly. I used to be so interested in a couple of 25 years a couple who've been married for 25 years, have 3 kids together. How could he or she wake up and just like murder their entire family? I'm just like,
I do not need to know that. I think it's in fact too much.
so just be mindful of what you consume, because in as much as we think that it's just like a song or it's just a TikTok, like these things literally go around in circles in your subconscious, and you don't even realize how much of an influence that can have over your decisions. I'm being so serious right now. That was an anime that I watched. Those things were chasing me down in my dream. I said we need to wrap that up. Anyway, I'm going on. I'm basically just saying be mindful of what you consume, and I'm not talking about what you eat.
However,
number 5, you do need to take care of your body. I'm enjoying this. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've definitely had too much sugar today, but I will say, like, for the most part, you know, I take my vitamins, I go to the gym. And the reason why I say this isn't because you need to eat right, you know, balance and all this kind of stuff. It's literally because I stress myself out to the point of illness. And like it's had a almost permanent effect on my body. In fact, God forbid, it's not permanent, but like it's had a very intense impact on my body. I've had multiple mental breakdowns, like because of a multitude of different things. And I'm just like, I could have avoided those situations if I just took care of my body a bit more and not worked myself out to an inch of my sanity. So yeah, taking care of my body has definitely been a very important one. The next point is how you feel good is not necessarily going to look like the next person. I think that there's a real power in just understanding your individuality as a person and how different you are to the world and the people around you, and not just acknowledging the difference but celebrating that difference as well. Like some people adore a cheeky cross stitch, a little painting. I love a good book. Send me some judgment. And to some people, that's dry. I love a good judgment. Okay, I love reading judicial decisions. Like, not even joking. I used to read it for leisure. And then I started doing SQ1. But anyway, the point I'm making is feeling good to you, taking care of you, is not necessarily going to look like the next person. And you should celebrate that. The next one I need to set up. You need to have hobbies that don't pay you. There's a lot of like, I mean, it's a very capitalist money society. You don't always need to monetize something that you enjoy. You can just enjoy it for enjoying's sake. I actually have a friend, she is so dear to me. This babe is a baker. Excellent at baking. Okay, she's really good at cooking. Guys, when I tell you that honey jerk salmon, chef's kiss. And she used to sell her bakes and then she stopped. She just makes bakes for baking's sake. And I asked her like, why? Like, these are top dollar, the quality is fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, you know, I just really enjoy it. And to be honest, the amount of labor it takes to put into these cakes, it's not even worth the payment. And I was like, you know what? I love that. I love the fact that you can enjoy the gift without remuneration. You can just enjoy it for what it is. It's not everything that needs to be monetized. Sometimes you just enjoy it for what it is, you know? Sometimes even adding money to it can take away the enjoyment. Guys, my cake is finished. I'm really sad about that. Stop faking it until you make it and actually just have it. I have found the concept of faking it till you make it very uncomfortable. It feels a little bit like disingenuous. And I'm not saying like maybe you're a little bit scared before you go on stage. Like when you get on stage and you're out there, you're doing your bit, you know, if you're an actress or a performer or a singer, like maybe you feel a little bit nervous, but you go out there anyway. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually, if you're afraid, if you have a genuine insecurity, we need to like pause the rhetoric of faking it until you make it and actually address the root of your insecurity. Why are you fearful? Why is it when somebody gives you feedback, you're scared when it's communicated in a healthy way? Why are you pretending to be this, you know, quiet, timid person when inside you're raging? Why don't you know how to communicate? Let's start there. I'm less about, you know, overcoming nerves. I think being nervous or, you know, a bit jittery before you start to do something that is new to you, that you've never done before, or that you have done before, but it's like maybe a different size or something like that, is one thing. Taking on a whole new personality that is just not, where you're not addressing the root of a problem, is, I don't think is okay. That's just me personally, because why build fake confidence when you can actually address your insecurities and actually be confident? You know? And I guess confidence is definitely a journey, but I think it's important to not skip over why you're insecure in the first place. That's just my own 2 cents. Which kind of feeds into the next point, which is understand who you are and actually embrace it. Like, actually enjoy it. Actually embrace it. Actually be excited about who you are. Spend some time with yourself. Know what your limitations are and work with yourself rather than against. Like, don't try and fit into what somebody else is doing because that's not what you're doing, because you want to be them. Like, just be you and enjoy that. When I tell you guys, I'm literally, I think because obviously I'm like, this is a YouTube channel that I regularly post content on. When I'm at work, I mind my business. Like, I'll stop and say hi to people and like, we'll definitely have conversations. Like, I'm not saying that I don't know how to communicate, but I mind my I go to work, I do my job, and I come home. I mind my business. I don't want no drama. I don't want to, my time of drama has come to an end. Simple life. I need to pass my exams now. But a lack of confidence can come in when you're trying to do or be what other people are doing and being. When you're trying to involve yourself in things you have no business involving yourself in, but it looks good. Like, leave it out. Just be you. We love a bit of you, we do. The next thing I learned was you need to speak up and communicate your boundaries. Learning how to communicate is a life skill. I don't care if you're shy. I don't care if you don't want to talk to nobody. I don't care if you feel like you don't need to say something because of who you are. Like, communication is a life skill. And if you don't put your boundaries in place, other people will put boundaries in place for you. Number 11, I don't need to talk more about that. Put yourself forward for things that you think you're not qualified for. There is a beauty in being able to see and acknowledge yourself from another perspective. And I think sometimes playing it safe can lead you to have a very simple life. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want a simple life, go for it. But also there is a beauty in challenging yourself. Even if I honestly applied for something, genuinely did not think I was gonna get it. I actually applied for it for practice and I got something. So since that experience, have honestly just taken on this desire to put myself forward for things that I don't think I'm qualified for. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. But I've been through that application process. I know that it's long. I know that it's short. I have a better understanding of what they're not looking for. Number 12, confidence can get you into things and into places that skills cannot. When I say confidence, I don't necessarily mean who's the loudest in the room. I'm talking about being sure of yourself and being secure within yourself in order to interact with other people in a way that's productive and healthy. Now, being really skilled as knowing every single law in the entire, Western society or every single UK law will only take you so far. Like, you actually need to be a good lawyer. It's more than just legal skills. You actually need to know how to communicate with clients, how to think on your feet quickly, how to apply the law, Even then, can you get clients? Can you keep clients? You need to be a nice person to the people you work with. Can you work in a team? Are you collaborative? And I think having a sense of self and having a sense of identity can get you to places that the skill of knowing the law and knowing how to apply it alone, c'est pas assez. Number 12, deal with your finances. Like, just stop running from it. Like, actually, the way you're running from your finances is actually embarrassing at this stage. Like, just stop. Even if it takes you months. And honestly, guys, like, finance is definitely an area that I am working on. Like, my spending, I like to buy things. I like to buy books. I like to read. I'm not gonna lie. I do like to read, and I like to eat food. I like to try new dishes that I might make once and never again. Even if you tell people how much you make, how you manage how much you make is a very personal thing. And you're like, you don't need to share that if you don't want to. But what I will say is make sure that you're aware of what's going on. Like, that's the first step. Acknowledging what is going on there. Do you have any bad habits? Do you have any good habits? Are you just leaving your money to sit there? Anyway, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying, you know, just deal with it. Like, don't just leave it to be. Put your money to work. If you're in a not great financial situation, acknowledge where you're at and actually work on it. Number 14 is humble thyself. In every area, you are not like the industry leader. And I'm not gonna lie, even if you were the industry leader, I'm telling you right now, there is somebody in history who knew about your subject probably better than you did, or had a different angle, or had a thought process that you've never thought of before. Like, be teachable is what I'm saying. Be open to learning new things, even if it's another viewpoint that isn't necessarily one that you strongly agree with. Okay, this is something that I wrote down, number 15. People are fickle. You don't need permission to make a decision. Getting wise counsel is a good thing. Getting counsel is not. I definitely used to be someone who needed 50,000 people to approve my decision before I made that decision. And that definitely comes from like a self-esteem issue, that I'm not able to trust myself to make significant decisions, or not even, they don't even need to be significant decisions. I just felt the need for somebody else to justify why I felt that way, which is problematic. You don't need to justify why you don't want to go to a party that isn't like necessary or like a big deal. Or if you don't want to go somewhere, you don't need to go. You're an adult. You don't need to have like a whole story as to why you can't do something or why you don't want to. If you don't want to go, don't go. Like, it is what it is. But if you're gonna get any counsel, which I think is, you need to get counsel from people with sense and wisdom, you need to get it. You need to get wise counsel, not just anyone saying anything. Even if people seem to be, yeah, you should definitely do that. Some people are just cheerleaders. You don't need that. You need people with sense. People who will tell you that's a dumb decision. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's a bad use of your time. You should not be doing that. Number 16, we'll move on. I live for an audience of one. That is something that I learned recently, that I know that I live for an audience of one, but by the way, the one is not me. There are people who live for themselves. That's not my business. I serve a living God, and I literally made this like a thing in my head. I don't know what the word is, a mantra. I do not fear man, but instead I trust in the Lord. This need to please people around me and basically put myself at a detriment to inches of my life, guys. Like, when I show up for people and things, I genuinely do my absolute best for everyone and everything else, even to the point where
Health is suffering, grades are suffering, pulling my hair out. Like, I'm so invested.
And honestly, I'm just like, I mean, we'll get onto it, and I think it's obviously connected to boundaries and all that kind of stuff, but the reason why I wanted to put this in here is, honestly, I'm probably gonna watch this as like a time capsule, but just living for purpose, living for eternity, and not just somebody else's need right now, even my own need right now. Like, I don't live for myself. And there are people out there like that. That's great for them. But for me in my house. Number 17, understanding and appreciating that people are imperfect and continually showing grace to people is important. Forgiveness, so important. I genuinely, and if there's anyone who's like Christian on here, we are all the blood of Jesus away from like hell. We're the blood of Jesus away from hell. Like, we as believers, we're not believers because we're so perfect and we're morally better and, you know, we've never done this and that. Like, we're saying we are in need of help, and just appreciating that, like, you are so imperfect. Like, you yourself have needed forgiveness. You've needed that grace for people to extend towards you. And I think it's so important to extend that grace to other people as well. Now, I'm not saying or talking about like you are in a harmful situation and you're re-inviting the harm back into your space. I'm not talking about anything illegal. Stay away from that. Okay? Being graceful to people also can be at a distance. Number 18, close your mouth. Stop oversharing. Guys, let me tell you the story, okay? There was this one time, this guy followed me from outside of a train station, followed me all the way to the end of the platform and ran to get onto my carriage. Now, I'll be so real with you. I don't think I'd ever experienced anything like that. And I was a bit like weirded out, like, why are you following me? Obviously, he then told me he saw me from outside and he was chasing me down because he liked my toes. I'm not gonna lie, I was very weirded out. So weirded out. Like, I've heard of men who had like a particular desire for toes. I did not put my toes in that category. But when I told multiple people this story, they were like, yeah, you have nice toes. And I was like, I love that. Guys, no word of a lie, like maybe 3 weeks later, my toes broke back to back. They're still recovering even now. And I was literally just like, I mean, obviously this is such a tiny example. Even one of my toenails almost tried to like fall out. One of my toenails cracked in half and like broke off. 2 of my toenails have like literally have cracks and some of it has like broken off. And guys, my toes are cute. Clearly, someone's chasing me down. My toenails are cute. But after I told that story, they just like been damaged. And I was just like, maybe I overshared in that instance. Like, even though people were probably keen with the story, maybe some of them like my toes too. And they were like, dang, I wish I had your toes too. This is such like a trivial example, but I'm just saying it's not everything you need to share. It's not everything that you need to share. Number 19, is let go, need to control. This need to control will honestly have you in a loop of anxiety. I don't know how to describe it any other way. And I don't think I'm a controlling person. But there have been a few instances where I need to know immediately. And my brain just kind of went into this everlasting loop until I prayed about it. And I was just like, if I just let go of the need to control absolutely every single detail about the situation, I would feel a lot more peace. And the funniest thing is, it didn't even work out the way I wanted it to. Haha, jokes on me. Now, it's obviously like a lot harder to do with people who have like obsessive thoughts, but you know, just sometimes. Yeah, number 20 is your career is not your life. Explore, get creative. Before I went into law, I was in the service industry. Okay, I was a waitress. I've spoken about that before on the channel. Learned so much about people are so rude to people in like who are waitresses, the service industry as a whole, like disrespectful. Anyway, that is for another time. I don't think I'll ever reveal stories that I've encountered in that service industry. But I think honestly just learning how to be excited, and the reason why, like, by your career, by your job, by the role that you're engaging in, like, we work for so much of our lives, you might as well enjoy it. And I enjoyed being a waitress, guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I enjoyed being a waitress. There were some, obviously some, you know, not so great parts. My feet were, they were literally bursting out of my shoe. Like, I was in so much pain from standing and walking around, from going to this event to that event. Like, team, it was a mare. But just like speaking to people and learning about their stories, and there were so many people who genuinely, I can't, hate is not even the, despise, detested. I need to find a stronger word for hate. Abhor, detest, loathed, literally found their job as an abomination to their existence. Now, these seem really strong language, but when I tell you, people really hated working in the service industry, and I personally really liked it. I liked working there, and I had a conversation with someone, and I was like, in all honesty, like, if you don't like working in the job, quit. Like, this is your life. Now, I was 17, young. 18, I was definitely 18 or 19, one of the two. I was so young, and like, maybe I did say it in ignorance, but when I look back on it, I'm also just like, if you hate your job that much, there's an animosity between yourself and your role. You're literally spending your life, like, I can't even express, there is nothing more important than the breath in your lungs and a working body to enjoy what that breath can do. You should not be trapped in something that you hate and get to explore something that you don't hate. So important. Try something else. I have literally seen people bounce around different careers. Doctors to nurses to lawyers to barristers to accountants. Some people photography, from finance to owning a company to being a trustee in a charity. Like, it's just the world is so big. There's so many things you can do, and honestly, I don't even know where to start. I'd probably say figure out what you love doing and figure out something that you really hate. For example, for me, absolutely detested sweatshops. The idea that, like, not necessarily like people who work in factories, poor conditions and no pay, zero or tiny pay, which basically is close to no pay. Stuff like that, really, from a legal perspective, like, we need to have better regulations. Like, why is this? Why is that? Like, things like that. That's how I got into just asking questions based off of a documentary that I watched, honestly. Number 21 is uni teaches you how to be academic. It teaches you how to think. It doesn't teach you the career. You can have a degree in several different things and you'll be an excellent thinker and a critical thinker, you know, depending on how your course is structured on that thing. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna love the career. You could love languages and hate working in, you know, as a translator or as an interpreter, or, you know, you could really not like it. The degree and the career are not the same. Uni teaches you how to be academic, not necessarily professional. Guys, I'm starting to get tired, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it's been a long day. Number 22, on the topic of thinking, think. Like, people have really poor reflection times, or no reflection time, in fact. They live their lives every single day and make poor decisions, and then they just call it life. And I heard that concept from somebody called Dr. Eric Thomas. I will always shout out the Secret to Success podcast. It is phenomenal. But honestly, just sitting down and thinking and reflecting about the decisions that were made, what went well, what didn't go well. If it's at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the quarter, like, you need to have good quality reflection time. Otherwise, you're just going to go in a cycle. Number 23, almost there. Stop constantly agreeing with negativity just because it's the norm.
Okay.
You can honestly search up on TikTok online, SQE1. When I tell you the amount of fear mongering that is attached to those 4 characters there, crazy. I used to be so negative about it as well. I used to be like, oh my gosh, like less than 50% of people who pass the exam, who do the exam, pass. Less than half. You're telling me at one point around 51% or more people took that exam and failed? I'm gonna fail it too. Guess again. And I know the exam is so hard.
Not for me.
No, but on a very serious note, like just because the general consensus is that this exam is extremely challenging and like that doesn't need to be your story. It is what it is. Like, no, you don't need to accept that. Number 24, self-love is not selfish. Selfishness and self-love are not the same. I feel like I'm still having that revelation right now, but I obviously read the Bible. Maybe it's not obvious, but hey, newsflash, I do read it. And the Bible says that you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, some people are mean. And that is how they love themselves. Some people mean to themselves and they're mean to other people. Some people show up for other people and don't show up for themselves. That ain't biblical. Deal with that. That's not okay. That is not okay. Love your neighbor as yourself. It means you gotta show yourself some care, some attention. You're out here, I'm talking to myself here. You are actually out here showing up for literally anyone else. In fact, you're taking care of other people's finances, other people's health, other people's mental health, their prayer life, but the prayer bank account is empty now. When they're coming to you with problems, you have every scripture, but you don't know how to give your own self-wise counsel. So what's happening? Number 25. Enjoy your own company. Enjoying your own company is quite challenging for many people, especially if they need somebody else to function. But there is a beauty in enjoying your own company. And, you know, people won't always be available. People won't always have the financial resources. People are not necessarily moving at the same speed in life that you're moving. So, you know, don't be afraid to take that solo trip. Don't be afraid to gallivant with your own passport by yourself. Go to the cinema by yourself. Start somewhere. Go to the movies. Date yourself. Get to know who you are. Let me tell you guys, there's actually a book. I think it's called 101 Questions to Ask Yourself. There are some serious questions that, like, I used to take myself out on dates, to dinner, to lunch, to watch a movie, to museums, skating, like ice skating. What else did I used to take myself to? I think the only thing I haven't done is solo traveled on taking myself to like an event, non-professional event. I've been to professional events by myself, but I mean like a language class or, you know, something like a cooking class or a pottery class. Like I don't think I've done something like that by myself. But after I'd done the activity, I'd literally just sit by myself, put my headphones in and just answer questions about myself to myself. Like, who are you, bro? Who are you? What do you actually like outside of what is on your feed, outside of what the girlies like? What kind of person are you? What do you hate? What do you not hate? Are you still pursuing your dreams? You can really sit down for a good 40 minutes and just write about that. Or talk to yourself, record yourself having that conversation. What were your dreams? Why did they get lost? Or like, spend some time with you. And last but not least, you are 26 now. Hi, Leeks. You're 26. Taking responsibility for your life, your decisions, and what happens to you is one of the biggest changes that you could possibly make in your 20s. There is a power that comes with accepting responsibility for how you react to things, not what happens to you, how you respond to them. You are 100% responsible for your responses to different situations. What you will accept, what you won't accept, what you say, what you don't say. When you blame everything around you, when you don't take responsibility, you're giving that power away to other people and to other things. I've said a lot in this video, but these are 26 things that I have learned at 26. I wrote this just before my birthday, and a couple of them I wrote along the way. I hope this video has been helpful. I've been talking so much. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this video. Yeah. It's been a long day, even at work, chair. I've been off, and today is my first day back at work. It was great, but also I'm tired. think I'm going to go into the sauna and have a nap. But guys, it's been great chinwagging with you all. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.